We are more than halfway through 2023, and the predictions of an impending recession have yet to materialize. In fact, despite numerous economists predicting that Canada's economy would be in a recession by now, economic indicators show that the Canadian economy may be more resilient than previously expected. The lack of a recession even has chief economists at major banks scratching their heads. Those economists who are now revising their economic forecasts are stating that if a recession does happen in 2023, it will likely be asymmetrical. Now, this means that it will have a significant impact on some industries while leaving others untouched, or that if a recession is to occur, it won't happen until 2024. Well, joining us now to answer the question, why are we not in a recession, is Brendan Caldwell, director at Caldwell Securities Ltd. Brendan, welcome back to Forum Daily.
Always great to be here, Nima, at least between now and when the revolution comes. But let's talk about why we're not in a recession. Ask away.
All right, Brendan. Now, given that central banks in both the U.S. and Canada are raising interest rates to slow the economy in order to fight inflation, we've heard a lot of fears around imminent recessions. But why are we currently not in a recession, Brendan?
Because there's too much money floating around. They've got their foot on the brake and the accelerator. You've got the monetary arm, the central banks raising rates, which is supposed to, in classic economic theory, slow down the economy. But you can't win an election if you got a slow economy. So the governments, in the form of their fiscal spending, have got their foot on the accelerator and are giving money away even still. I mean, my own kids are getting, I think, larger checks, sort of GST, clean energy, something, rebates. I don't know. The checks keep coming in fast and thick, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Because I don't know that it's going to the people that really need it. So money is being constricted on the one side, but then the technical economic term is being printed like drunken sailors, to mix my metaphors unmercifully, on the other side. So foot on the gas, foot on the accelerator at the same time isn't actually going to cause a recession, if that's what you're trying to do.
Very interesting points there, Brendan. Now, another interesting thing here is widely followed surveys south of the border of purchasing managers in the U.S. manufacturing sector. They actually pointed to contraction in the manufacturing sector for the past 7 months. So why did this not lead to a recession?
Well, I think that it's going to be a long time before U.S. manufacturing's in recession. There's a big move toward onshoring in the United States, where more and more is going to get made in America. Hopefully, they're going to think about friend-shoring. You know, they've got this new NAFTA agreement with Mexico and Canada. It would be nice if they thought about friend-shoring rather than just USA number one. But more and more is going to get made in America, because supply chains, which have driven globalization for the last, well, my entire life, are now becoming shortened and constricted, as it's harder to get goods out of China and really hard to get goods out of Eastern Europe. So it's going to mean that more things are going to have to get made in America, or at least in American-friendly jurisdictions or American proximate jurisdictions. And so I don't think there's going to be a manufacturing recession in America anytime particularly soon.
All right, Brendan, but what about governments? We know both governments are deeply in debt, the U.S. and Canada. So how can they service their debt given these high interest rates?
Well, I think we should, if people and businesses could do what governments can do, it would be easy. I would just print Bren coins, and I would be able to service all of my fiscal wants and needs. But governments both here and south of the border have, as I alluded to, actually stated explicitly earlier in the interview, been able to just print money and print money and print money, racking up in the last several years, for example, in Canada, more debt than we had taken on since the beginning of Confederation. So this decade, we've laden on more debt than we had in the previous, 153 years. So that, you could say it's unsustainable, but it's been sustained much longer and to a much greater degree than people would have ever thought. It is a very inflationary move, and we've been printing money a lot, in this century, but yet interest rates were staying low for a very long time. That is not likely to be the case. So higher interest rates are probably a thing that's going to stay with us for a while. that'll be very much a good thing for those that have savings and are generating interest off that. But I think an awful lot harder for the younger generation who still have mortgages and have to pay those higher interest rates on those mortgages.
All right, Brendan, always great having you on Forum Daily. Thanks again for your time today.
Thank you, Nima.